body language, and I'm going to get in position. Good girl.
Madison Bell German Shepherd.
Welcome back to Madison Bell. We're with Arya. This is going to be her sixth day, so she'll be leaving tomorrow. We want to show you real quick about her a little bit before we finish up with her. But this episode, we're going to talk about positions, training positions for the trainer, not the dog. So if you're in improper positions, it's going to affect training, okay? When I give Arya to sit, my legs are together. She's focused on me. I have the treat so she can see it. So me and her have eye contact. And then I give her the treat. As we talked about earlier, treat delivery, now we're talking about trainer position. So as I'm standing here on the X, me and her have eye contact. Arya, we have eye contact. Now I can give her a command. Foos. Now I can give her a command. You cannot give them a command if they're not looking at you. This is important. The way your body posture is extremely important because dogs read body language. They don't read lips. So she's reading my hand gestures and I'm making funny noises, but she's understanding if she comes all the way to my right, she's going to get rewarded. Look at my body language. Look at her. Look at her. Down. So she's still looking at me because I brought my hand up. Down. Good girl. Then she's rewarded. My body language is this. So she understands this. Up. Sit. She watched my hands. If you watch it again, watch what she's watching. Look at her and look how she's looking at me. She watches where the treat comes from. She looks up at my face. My hand says down. So she goes down. She's still looking at the treat though. My hand goes sit. So she sits. And I reward her. This is simple. We'll do the same thing when she watches my body language when I tell her to place. Watch what she does. Place. Place. She looked at my arm stretched out over here and she followed me. Foos. Good girl.
Foos. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Come here. Sit. Sit. Down. Sit. Good girl. Stop jumping the trees. Here. Down. Stay. Sit. Please. Good girl. Here. Sit. Down. Down. Good girl. Sit. Please. Good girl. Please. Good girl. Here. Push. Sit. Good girl. Push. Oops. Here. Push. Sit. Good girl. Push. Sit. Good girl. Push. Sit. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. yet. Ha ha ha. Ah ha ha. Okay. What else did I teach you? Sit. Down. Stay. Place. Sit. Nah. Sit. Down. Place. Place. Sit. Sit. Come on. Sit. Good girl. She's not gonna go down. Good girl. I know I thought you do something else. I don't remember where it was. Puss. Sit. Puss. Hey, puss. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Stay. Sit.
Okay. If you are in improper body language, it's going to affect training. All right? We're going to try to give her some commands from the sitting position and see how well we do. As soon as I went down, she changed, right? Now she's all over me. Now I can't control her, right? Down. Sit. 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 Now she's moving. I'm sitting down. Things have changed. Down. Good girl. Down. Good girl. So she's maneuvering, but you saw how hyper she was once I sat down. She just elevated to where she could jump all over me, right? Place. She won't go to the place. Place. Go place. Good girl. So again, I'm going to toss her the treat because she went to place and she did it. Let's see if we can get her over here. Sit. Foos. Well, we can't do a whole lot sitting down, right? Because that's not how we trained her. We didn't train her sitting down. We trained her standing up. So once you start training a dog from a sitting position, this will be more of a service dog. You want to train it from a sitting position. All right? Down. Down. Good girl. Down. Good girl. As soon as she went to go back up, I took the treat back because she was coming back up. All right? So we're doing this from a sitting position, and she's doing excellent. Place. Place. Go place. Arya, go place. Sit. 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 Arya. So it's harder for me to do these commands from over here, sitting down, because she's used to me standing up. Sit. Sit. So you see, it's harder to get her to understand. I'm going to give her a treat for going to the place, but it's harder to get those commands by when you're standing up. Now we're going to try to do those same commands standing up. Arya, place, sit, down. Good girl. So you saw a totally different dog once I was standing up, okay, because all her commands came from me standing up. So you saw her totally different. For me to do it from a chair, I would have to train her in that manner. So it's a big difference once you start doing that. Arya, come here, place. Place, come here. Come on. Sit. Sit. Good girl. So once we start understanding treat delivery, training positions, these are going to help us out a whole lot when we're training our dog. All right, we can't just be standing here like this, saying sit, 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 sit. We can't do that. All right. Number 2, every time you say the command more than once, you're devaluing the command. You're making the command less important. All right. You're giving no value to it, so you're devaluing it. So when you give a dog a command, you need to wait and pause and let them commit to doing the action. If you keep saying it and they only do it on the 3rd time, then they're going to always respond to the command on the third time. Sit. Good girl. So now we're going to do the same command, but we're not going to use any verbal cues. We're going to use hand signals. And we're going to see if she responds because she reads body language. And I'm going to get in position. Good girl. So body language means a lot. I didn't say one command and she did up, down, 100 times, okay? We're going to do that with the place. We're going to do the same thing and see if she responds. Good girl. Not one single command, all right? So body language is extremely important when you start talking about training dogs. Commands are extra cues that we add on to the dogs. So when we say them, that the dog does it. So this time we're going to do it, and we're not going to, and this time we're going to do it, and come here. We're not going to use hand signals. We're going to use verbal cues. Sit. Down. Sit. Sit. Arya, sit. 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 So you see, she doesn't get it. She gets the down on the verbal cue, but she's not getting the sit on the verbal cue. This is important. I hope this is like a science lesson for you to understand. Down. Sit. 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 So when I add my hand in there, then she sits. So she has to learn the command sit on verbal cue just like she learns it on her hand signal. So body language is the most important in dog training. It's more important than verbal cues. Sit. Sit. Down. Sit. Down. Sit. Good girl. So that was a quick science lesson on dog behavior and understanding when you're training your dog how to do certain things. Good place. Good sit. Good down. And getting your dog to understand these different positions, getting them to understand the commands. When we train the dogs, we train them the positions first. We teach them the positions first with the signals. And actually, and then after that, we add in the verbal cues once we know they know the positions. And I'll show you. Come here. So, for instance, if I want to teach her down, I know that I'm going to push my hand all the way down. So when I first start doing it, I go down. I go down. I push down, right? So when I want to teach her sit, I do the same thing. I go sit, and I bring her up. So when I'm at a distance and I do it, she understands. She understands what I'm saying. Same thing with heeling. Foos. I bring her around, and I move her. I did that. I showed you that with Thunder. We're manipulating her body. Wherever the head goes, the tail will follow. And we're bringing her around. And treat delivery. The whole time I had the treat in my hand. She was following the treat. She couldn't get to it because it was stuck in the middle of my hand. All right? If you ask about dog training secrets, these aren't secrets. These are just the way good dog trainers do their thing. And if they do the same thing with every dog, it's called science. They're going to get the same result. All right? So, again, we're going to show you. Down. Sit. Good girl. And that's it. So transactional. She's doing all these commands because I'm giving her something. She's not just doing them for free. Because she's expecting that I'm going to reward her for doing these commands. That is the thing you have to understand. If there's no reward, there are going to be no commands. Down. There are going to be no action from the dog. So if you're telling your dog to sit 100 times over and over again and they're not doing it, eventually they're going to stop not doing it. So when you give a command, you have to make sure that you mean that command and you can back it up with action. If you cannot back it up, do not devalue the command. Okay? That's the first thing. That's the one thing everybody does. They'll sit there and say, sit, 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 sit. Come here, 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 here. And the dog eventually will just stop coming to you. the dog eventually will stop listening to you. So that's where we are. We did wonderful training with both pups. We're excited to see them go. Foos! They did awesome in 7 days. They've learned more in 7 days than most dogs learn in 4 weeks at other trainers. And they're amazing dogs. And again, you know, we are proud that we train with these two. They're amazing. We have fun with them. Thunder gave us some at the beginning. He was hard to crack, but we ended up cracking him. And it's just, we cracked him with it. We just got to his belly. That was his sweet spot. So once we started giving him really good motivational treats, he started to listen, okay? So we've done 3 videos, one about treat motivation, we've done one about treat delivery, and we've done one about treat positions, or positions of trainers or owners and whatnot. So once you kind of combine those in, then you start to understand the science of dog training and how we're able to do a lot of these things. How we're able to do a lot of these things with dogs, and while we make so much progress in short time, because it's a science behind it. All right, dogs read body language and then verbal cues later. So you have to understand that, and once you understand that, then you'll be able to train dogs real well. You'll be able to continue on with whatever your trainer's done with your dog when you get home. If you're unthinking that dogs understand language, you're gonna have a hard time trying to train your dog. Dogs communicate with body language, and verbal cues are second. Verbal cues are second nature. So again, that's dog training, and that's these guys. I hope we gave you a lot of good information about how to manage your puppy when they get home and how to work with them as far as verbal cues and treat delivery, and I think you guys will be awesome. All right, so I'm Madison Bell. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one.